This video is for the people who have felt ashamed and guilty for playing video games, for enjoying themselves, whatever their other vice was. But for this video, for video games specifically, because it's something that I've had experience with. And it's just for those people that are carrying the shame and guilt of things and feeling like they have to be perfect, that they have to do the right thing all the time. And I'm here to tell you that there's another way, and that you don't need to be so harsh on yourself. Because I used to wake up and the first thing I would do was play video games. Any day I had spare time, when I wasn't working, when I didn't have a job, I would just spend my whole days just gaming. And that's not a very nice way to spend your day. I'm sure you've been there before if you've clicked on this video. You know, it's kind of fun, it's kind of enjoyable, but there's a part of you that feels really guilty, you know, because you have these dreams, these aspirations that you want, but you're kind of just numbing yourself out and running away from them. And that kind of further perpetuates this cycle of feeling kind of like a loser. I ended up becoming like 100% consumer, didn't create anything, didn't do much. Just spent my days in this kind of numb, avoidant state, and just because my dreams felt too big for me to carry, my ambitions, all of the judgments and the weight of expectations that I put on myself were way too big. And I'm here to tell you that gaming isn't actually an enemy. It can be when it's excessive, but when it's excessive, it's a symptom from something else. It's not the gaming that's the problem, it's something deeper within yourself. Because when you're escaping things so much, when you're going to things to the excess, when you're binging, something is driving you there. And it's filling a gap, a void within yourself, something that needs to be satisfied. And if you feel like this has been holding you back, in this video I'm going to help you find a way and be an accountability as well to change your life in a way that's actually enjoyable and creating your best life while also gaming and having a balance between the two. So, you know, society, I guess all of this comes from society telling us, or not telling us, but a lot of the kind of ideas around video games that people are talking about are like, oh, it's for losers, it's not for productive, it's not for people, you know, it's not for productive people. Productive people don't do that, they work all the time, and there's all these other important things, so why the fuck would you be doing something like that? But then these same people go out drinking every night, or they go smoking, or they do a little bit of weed, or they do some other drugs or whatever like that. And I just want to point out that we're all kind of human and we all have our vices, and we should try to be more respectful and understanding of other people, so then we can learn more about it rather than just judging it and making them go back even further into their addiction, you know. It's not very beneficial to do it like that, to judge it like that and to shame it like that. And so gaming, for example, is very addictive because it has value. It offers these things that you may not be getting in real life. You know, it offers prestige, it offers achievement, it offers structure, it offers competition, it offers structure, social aspects. I said structure twice, whatever. And that's why we go to it. And so what you need to ask yourself is, what need am I fulfilling from this? What is making me go to this? Like, for example, for me, it's the idea of coming up with strategies, coming up with plans, putting them together and seeing them work out, and to win and compete and always be better and always be growing, that kind of thing. And, you know, I could get that in real life through practicing talking about my ideas on YouTube, growing my YouTube channel, you know. It's just the way that you direct it, you know, and we can kind of realize that the thing that's driving us to play video games is that we're not doing these things in real life, and then we feel like we need to be doing it all in real life, whereas we could be doing a balance of both, which is what I'll talk about in a second. But first I kind of want to talk about how our identity is just this sense of consistency. You know, there's certain aspects of ourselves that are kind of ingrained. You know, we're more likely to be introverted, sorry. But that doesn't mean, if you're introverted, that doesn't mean that you don't talk to people. It just means that you experience maybe a bit more anxiety when you talk to people, or it's a bit more important, it has bigger of an impact on you, and you prefer to kind of spend time by yourself, which is okay, but you've also got to realize that you can share that with other people too. Introverted doesn't mean that you're introverted all the time, 100%. There's kind of like this variance. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent on that. And so if we kind of look back on our dreams and our ambitions that we had and think like, why did I want to do that? What was it that drew me to that? You know, for example, I wanted to be a pro soccer player, and what drew me to that was just this physical perfection and this mastery over a skill. I just love the idea of having physical mastery over something, and I just love that. I don't know why, I just do. And I also really loved music because it was like this, it really spoke to my soul. I felt like it touched parts of me that in ways soccer couldn't. You know, it was like this expression, this creative expression, this parts in yourself that can't be explained by anything, and you're letting it out and showing it to other people, and then they can feel a little less alone. And so by kind of realizing that and accepting that, we can start to think of things where we can get real life experience points rather than just spending it all on this kind of online world, which, if you're spending all of your time in that, it doesn't feel very fulfilling, like I said before. So how do we actually change? What do we actually do to change that? And how have I changed that? It's literally just mornings, you know, it's start your mornings with the work that you want to do and do it before you game. That's literally all it is. That's a simple idea. You could leave this video now if you wanted to. Like, that's all you need to know. Just do your work and then do video games. But if you need some structure, I'm here to give it to you too. Set an alarm 9 hours after you go to bed. So then you're getting at least 8 hours of sleep. Lots of people think that, oh, if I go to bed at 10 and then say I wake up at, I need to do the maths. If I wake up at 6, then I'm getting 8 hours of sleep. But that's not actually true, because it takes you some time to go to sleep, and you actually wake up throughout the night, even if you're not conscious of it. So set an alarm 9 hours after you go to bed. When you wake up, pick one thing, pick one goal, write a list of all of the dreams, ambitions that you've had, all the things that you'd like to do. Just pick one and just do it the first thing in the morning, at least 10 minutes. And it may seem like it's too much, but that's kind of how you build it, because as I said, identity is consistency over time. So the more you do it, the more ingrained it becomes, the better you become at it, the more you want to do it, the more you see yourself as that kind of a person rather than someone that just wastes their time playing video games all day. And then another thing that I would advise is no stimulation, no video games, no TV shows or anything until 12 p.m, until after 12 p.m. p.m? Yes, that's right. I use 24-hour time, so I'm trying to keep it a bit easier for most people that just use the 12-hour time, and it's kind of confusing me. Anyway, why do I say this? When we wake up, that's when we have the most energy. And if we use all of that energy to play video games, then when we go and do something, like we go to work out, for example, or we go to write a script for a YouTube video, just examples from my life, then it doesn't really feel fulfilling. It doesn't feel as good, because we've just enjoyed ourselves. We've just used up all of our energy, drained it into this video game, and then we're kind of feeling drained and a little bit numb. And then we go into this thing with not quite the same energy. And it's actually basically it's depleting our dopamine, so then we don't feel motivated to go back and do those things that we want to do after gaming. So if we use our energy, our dopamine, just because each day you kind of reset and start new. If we use that for the things that we want to do, then we're going to be more focused, and we're going to feel more inclined to keep doing it, basically. And the last point that I want to make for this plan is, if you can't do the work, if you can't do the work until 12, if you've sat down to do, like, I don't know, a writing session, for example, and you're just in it 5 minutes and you're like, fuck, I really can't do this anymore, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it, then don't. Either just sit there, do nothing, go on a walk, go outside and walk, or even read a book or have a cup of tea, sit outside. Just don't play video games, don't stimulate yourself in this time, because this time is sacred, and you need to build the identity that you can be disciplined and you can enjoy yourself whilst gaming as well. You can have a balance between both. You know, the reason why you keep feeling bad about gaming is that you're not spending this time towards the things that you actually want to do. And at the start it feels bad because there's an adjustment period. It's going to take about a week for your body to kind of get used to it, for you to feel okay to do it, and that's okay. So that's all I wanted. That's the plan. Sorry, I got a bit carried away with that. I just wanted to keep it short. But what I want you to do is, if you do this, set an alarm now. Like, set an alarm from your bedtime, 9 hours. Set an alarm. Set what you're going to do tomorrow morning and do it. And if you do, then comment a snowman down below. Comment a snowman because that's kind of like this example, of the compound, you know, like it's a snowball effect. It keeps building and building and building like a flywheel. You know, the more it kind of gets done, the more momentum it gets, the bigger it gets, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, that's basically all you needed, all this video was supposed to be about. But I also have a few advanced kind of tips if you wanted to learn a little bit more and you wanted to stick around a bit from what I've learned from doing this. Basically what we're trying to do is transform our binges, our excessive consumption of whatever vice it is, for this example, gaming, into guilt-free enjoyment. So we do the work, and then after we do the work, that's when we rest, that's when we enjoy ourselves, because we need a balance between both, you know. And doing this actually makes both more enjoyable, funnily enough, because I've been back and forth in the extremes. I've been on the binge video gaming extreme like I've talked about before, and I've also been on the, you know, super strict, disciplined kind of way. And both of them suck. Frankly, both of them suck. But when you do both of them together, you'll naturally find a balance. Like last week, I found that I was actually gaming a bit too much. I was spending too much time gaming, and I was feeling kind of numb and just really bad, and I wasn't really eating well as I was liking to, or well as I planned. And so what I needed to do was just do a bit more work. And on the days when I had work, had a commitment to a job, it was a bit easier because I had to be there, I had to be earning money, and so I didn't have as much time to kind of game, and I felt a little bit better from that. But also just making sure that you go to bed on time, like having a time limit, like, all right, let's say I do game, all right, what time do I have to finish? Okay, so I want to be in bed around 9, I don't want to see blue light, I don't want to be looking at a screen before then, so about 7:30 is my cutoff. Like, that's when I want to be stop playing video games, stop having that stimulation, and just like kind of cut off from it, and just ease into kind of like my nighttime routine to calm me down so then I can have a better sleep. And this is kind of an individual kind of thing for you to kind of figure out, but for me, I've found that reading and then journaling and then taking a shower, brushing my teeth, and then just sitting down just in silence for a while, and then laying on a Shakti mat before I go to bed, that kind of just has this nice kind of flow and kind of eases me out, because if I read too close to bed, my mind's a bit too stimulated and I can't go to sleep very quickly. But also I need a journal just to get a lot of my racing thoughts just out onto the paper and just kind of see like, oh, I've been feeling really crazy and some of these thoughts are crazy, but that's okay because now it's on a piece of paper and it's not just in my head and I don't feel so mad. And another point that I want to make with these advanced tips is that you've just got to kind of flow with life, because some days it's going to be a lot harder to get up, it's going to be a lot harder to do the things that you want to do, But if you just stick to like just 2 minutes, just start doing a little bit of it, just to keep that consistency going, then it's going to benefit you so much over the long term. And of course there's going to be bumps, there's times when you're going to fall off of it and you're not going to do as well as you want, and you're going to feel like beating yourself up and just going back into a binge. And maybe you will, but just kind of remember this, that there is a middle way out there, and you can be creating a life that you desire, and you can be fulfilling the needs that you need in yourself, whilst also enjoying yourself with the video games, and it makes both more enjoyable. Why does my voice sound really weird today? It just sounds weird to me today. And the last point that I wanted to make is to find healthier ways to express yourself. You know, creating these videos is starting to become more of an expression of my life, and I'm going to continue to try and keep it that way. But I've also found that just writing stuff out and writing songs is so beneficial and so therapeutic, because even though it feels like you write it out and you're like, oh, that sounds so cringe, or that sounds really sad, or that sounds really kind of whiny, it's you expressing the things in yourself and getting them out, and having a way to cope and deal with the difficulties of life in a healthier way, and kind of making friends with it rather than just like judging it, shutting it aside, and then trying to numb it with a bunch of video games and that, because you're trying to fulfill those needs in this kind of false reality. And if we're honest with ourselves, it kind of feels false. There can be times of enjoyment, like I love playing video games, I'm going to be honest here, but I don't want to be playing them all day is basically what I want to say. I do want to be playing them all day, but that I don't feel the best when I do play them all day. That's the better statement to make. Anyway, I've been trying to hold this microphone closer to my mouth because thanks to Wes from the last video, he kind of told me that the audio was way too low when I had it on my shirt. And so I'm also trying to talk a little bit louder, but I think I didn't talk very loud, and I don't know why my voice feels weird. Anyway, thank you, Wes, for telling me about that, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. I almost didn't do a video this week. You know, I came very close because, as I said, I was kind of in this darker period. You know, I was gaming a bit too much and I wasn't feeling very good for it. And, you know, my habits and stuff started to slip a little bit, but I don't know what it was, but just kind of this realization that I was kind of responsible and that I could choose, but also I was right. I did a couple plays last week, and my friend got motivated to write his own play, and so he sent it to me, and then I was like, oh, I've had all these ideas for plays, why don't I write one while I'm at work, because I have a few breaks and it's been kind of quiet, so I have time to write a play. And I kind of wrote this play, and then it kind of just got me thinking, kind of made me realize about these different parts of myself and kind of validated those parts, and so I didn't feel like I needed to escape so much, and that I could, you know, express myself a bit more and not just try and numb myself out, because that's basically where I was going, where I was headed down another binge, down another spiral, which was not where I wanted to go, because I've been so consistent this past month, so much better, so much healthier, so much happier. And I've been like gaining my muscle back after I got sick, which is just really cool to see. Anyway, that was just a last kind of personal rant. Thank you for listening to that part if you did. And I'll see you in the next video. Meow.